We are at Columbus Book Exchange at 6440 West Hamilton Park Drive in Columbus. I'm Miller Robson. Come on in, let's go see my friend Pat. This is a really neat place. I think you'll enjoy it. Pat Robinson, how are you doing?
Good morning, good morning.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Everything going well?
Doing good.
I've been telling everybody how exciting this place is, how neat it is. What do you say we show them?
Let's show them.
Now, Pat, how long have you been here?
I've been here about 12 years.
But you've been doing this a lot longer.
I've been doing this 30 years.
What made you become a comic book aficionado?
Well, I always read them as a kid and had the chance to buy a store, and here I am.
What a way to make a living doing something that you love.
I agree. I agree.
Right. Well, you got a huge selection here. I'm going to put you on the spot. What would you say is your bestseller right now?
Well, right now, Blackest Night, which is a big Green Lantern story, that's the big thing right now. Everybody's reading that. That's one of the best-selling comics in probably the last 10 years.
You have got a huge selection. Do you have all the collection of Green Lantern?
So far, we have all that's come out so far, yes.
How far back did he go?
Well, Green Lantern's been out. This particular Green Lantern's been going on since the 60s, so he's a big character. He's going to have a movie coming out in 2011.
It's interesting you mentioned the movie. I'd asked you this earlier. When a particular movie comes out, like when the X-Men or whatnot, do you see a big rush to the store because people want to read more about it?
People are curious. They want to find out if they're not familiar with the characters. They're going to come in here and see what I've got. We did it for the X-Men, for Spider-Man, for the Watchmen. All of them have caused people to want to read a comic book at least and see what they can, what the movie is going to be about.
Now, as we're looking at all the collection that you have here, off the top of your head, do you know what your oldest comic book would be?
I've got some comics back into the 60s. I try to keep a good selection because there's still some people that want to fill in their orders, that they things they grew up with. A lot of older people are coming back to comics now, and so they're trying to relive their childhood, so they're looking for comics that they remember when they were growing up.
Now, if you had to kind of guess your demographic, do you see more young kids, older, or is it kind of skewed across the whole?
It's pretty much older. It's all the people who grew up reading them, and now they're continuing to read them, and so they're now gearing the stories for them. We still carry a child's line, you know, for all ages, but these right here now, pretty much all the comics for like probably 20 and up.
Okay. You say Green Lantern right now is pretty hot. If you kind of predicted the future, do you see anything that maybe just like, you got to get this comic book right now because I think it's going to go through the roof in value pretty soon?
Well, the value part of it, there's nothing that's always takes people by surprise. Is something that no one would think of. Like there's 2 or 3 movies down the road that they're small comic books. They're going to come out. Like Watchmen was. No one ever heard of Watchmen. Now all those old Watchmen comics are worth money because everyone came and bought them up.
Right. I see you have a lot of maybe non-traditional. Things I'm learning right now. I did not know that Hercules has a comic book.
Yep. No, we've got Hercules, and people like Thor, who's like from mythology and things like that. He's got a comic book. He'll have a movie coming out in a couple of years. So comic books are a good basis for movies and for good reading material.
Well, you got a great selection, but you do more than comic books, right?
I do more than comic books.
Well, let's go see what else we got.
Okay.
All right. Now, as you can see, you got a great selection, a great variety of comic books, but you do other things as well.
I do books.
Now, this is where we get to the exchange part of the Columbus Book Exchange.
That's right. That's what the name implies.
All right. Well, let's start over here. My wife is going to be jealous because I get to talk a little bit about Fabio. You have got an awesome selection of romance novels and things like that.
We've got the romance novels, we got the westerns, we got the science fiction. We've got a little something for everybody. We have our sale table here, which usually has a variety of different things that we have on the shelves, and these are like extras that people can pick up even at a further discount.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Now, how do you do the trade thing? Do you do an equal swap for one thing for another?
Well,
same genre? Or
2 for 1, same genre.
Okay.
Like if you want a mystery, you got to bring me some mystery so we can keep a good selection. And then we also, it's basically 2 for 1. Like if a book's got a cover price of $8, you need to bring me 2 books with an $8 cover price, and that way we, can exchange even. Or you can just buy them outright at half the original price. With the price of books these days, half price is going to save people some money.
All right. Now we talked about the popular comic books. Do you have any popular genres right now that people are exchanging?
Mysteries is pretty much what people love the most these days. James Patterson, Michael Connelly, people like that. But of course, there's also science fiction. People always love the classic science fiction writers, and then we still have people who love the westerns. Still love Louis L'Amour and all those guys.
How far back do some of your books go?
We've got books. Strangely enough, we have some of the older books that get traded in. Sometimes it could be up to 40 years old.
Really?
And you can see the difference because you see like a 60-cent cover price compared to an $8 cover price today.
Right. Anybody can come in and get as many books as they want to trade or buy, or I mean, you don't have a limit, right?
They can buy all they want. The limit-wise, I ask people maybe around 25 because that's my, I've got to be able to still have enough room to put them out, and that way we keep everything kind of equal.
Okay. I'd be amiss if I didn't ask this question. Vampires are the thing right now.
That's
Do you have a great selection?
I have a great selection. I've got, there's so many vampire books now. They've got their own section in the store now.
Okay. Again, we want to emphasize again, this is the exchange part. You don't do it on the comic books.
No, we just sell the comic books, but if people want to buy the paperbacks, they can. But if they've got some that they're finished reading and they want to bring them in exchange for some of mine, that's what I'm here for. An
amazing collection. As we were talking, you could see some of the books that you've got here on the shelf. Yep. Do you see a lot of them come in during the daytime, or is there a certain day where you like, this is the day, folks, if you want to come in and get in a book, this is the day you need to come?
No, I'm very fortunate. It's almost every day. I mean, we're constantly getting books in, so that means I'm constantly putting new books on the shelf. So there's always something new. We have my regulars that come in on a weekly basis to see what new things I've gotten in.
Now, if there's a certain book, like if I'm looking for it, you don't have it, is there a way that I can order it, or can you search for it? Or
I can try and search for it sometimes. We have done that for people. We do that, and I also, I can keep a list in case someone's looking for a certain book. If it comes in, I give them a call and let them know we've got it in. So we try to be a full-service bookstore.
All right. Comic books, a huge selection of other genres. Columbus Book Exchange, what a great selection. This is a place you need to come. We got some more we want to see right quick?
Sure.
All right. Now, before we wrap up the tour, the thing that really looks like it's very popular and really hot right now are your graphic novels because of all the movies that have come out. Frank Miller, I mean, the look of those movies is incredible, and I would imagine the graphic novels are the same way.
They are. What it is there's so many comics over the years, they've now taken the comic books and they'll do something like Batman or Robin, or like you say, some of these other comics, the X-Men, and they'll take the comic book story, whatever long-term story they had that might be so many issues, and they put it in this form. Because sometimes people can't come in every month to get a comic book, but when the story's finished and it's compiled in one of these, then that's what they come and buy, and it's just simple for them. They don't have to necessarily, if they can't get in all the time.
Right.
And that's become the big thing, because now they can reprint a lot of the older comics. You were asking about older comics. A lot of these things show the very first Superman, or the very first Batman, or the very first Spider-Man.
Oh, neat.
And so, like you said, Frank Miller, Sin City, Watchmen, that's how they all came out, graphic novels. And it's just a format that an adult may say, oh, I read a graphic novel, not so concerned about reading a comic book. He might be ashamed, or he might be afraid his friends might say something about him. But a graphic novel, that sounds, like, well, that's something an adult would read.
So, to describe what a graphic novel is it because it's pictures, or because it's more adult comic book?
Well, no, it's because of the pictures. And I've had people ask me, is it graphic novel because it's violence? And no, it's graphic novel because it's pictures. It's just where they've taken a 6-issue comic story or 12-issue comic story, and they just put it in one big format like this. Instead of having to worry about going to find all the individual issues, I may not have them all at that time, and this way they can just read the whole story, sit down at one time.
All right, graphic novels, you got a great selection of that as well. Yeah. Tell you what, Pat, this, like I said, is a really neat place.
Well, I appreciate that.
And we want to thank you for letting us come in for a little bit. Quickly, your address, your hours, and a phone number if anybody would like to
we're at 6440 West Hamilton Park Drive. Our phone number is 324-2559, and we're here Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6:30.
Columbus Book Exchange, I'll take it out. It's a really neat place.